Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Sorry for that very late email, but Tracy thought better then than raise it in the meeting. So,
And I really appreciate getting it now. Thank you.
I thought I would just join slightly early because I last week had a couple of issues on my computer, but seems like I'm working okay. Can you hear me all right?
Absolutely perfect.
Great. So Tracy, are you with us? I can see you there, but maybe she stepped away.
No, I'm here. I just
yeah.
There we go. Start a video. Hang on.
Yeah. Hey, so that's a good idea to try and put it later in the day. It would be great to get it out of the way tomorrow.
Yeah, so Amy and I've just been chatting. So we've got two options. So if we can try to do it later tomorrow, and I've just rung Nordea back and he said, yep, they'll do everything in their power to do such a thing. And then plan H, because that's what I feel like I'm up to, is depending on your availability, is we do have a finance committee meeting on Tuesday. So, and again, that's full council. So whether or not we do an extraordinary council meeting to do recommendations on Tuesday. Okay. So that's my plan H.
Okay, let's see how we go, depending on the time on Tuesday. Is it an afternoon or a morning?
So our finance committee is normally morning,
Right.
and we're normally over by about lunchtime-ish.
Yeah, okay.
So it'd be kind of early afternoon.
Yeah. Yep, I could do early afternoon or late morning.
Okay, so that's our plan H. And
Like
I said,
you don't need it.
I know, like I said, I'm just about getting to Z, and if I get there, then you know.
Believe it or not, you are doing better than others.
I know, but it's I just feel like it's mucking everyone around, and I'm just very conscious of that. So
yeah.
But we'll get there.
Yeah. We will.
Little stimulus.
So because I've got that screen sharing thing, I can't see everybody. Okay, we've got a few more there.
Hi there.
Hi, Nadia.
There we go, that's better.
Yeah, your headphones are not on.
Right, we're not quite 12:30 yet, but a brief scan, I see we've got Mayor Paula and Councillor Bunting, and we don't have Bruce yet, but it looks like we'll have a quorum. We'll just wait for Bruce to join.
Karen should join any moment because I've just been on the phone with him.
Can't see anyone now. I feel exceptionally scruffy today because I'm zooming all day.
I know it's one of those home, don't get out of your slippers days, isn't it?
Kind of is. It is. And, you know, I meant to go and put a jacket on, and then there was this large part of me went,
I can only see your head, Mayor Paula, so if you hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, and if you hadn't done that, it would have helped.
but I will be tomorrow, I promise.
G'day, Rob.
Yeah, hi.
Sorry. Oh, that's Bruce. He's obviously having trouble. I'll just put myself on mute and answer that.
Rob, I was talking with someone today explaining your deep knowledge of 60s and 70s rock music.
Oh,
Yeah.
Who, Rob?
Rob's
I
a
know.
rocker from years gone by. He's very impressive.
I was a baby of the 60s, yeah.
I think you should put together the playlist for the Christmas event that we're having at the zoo.
Good idea.
You could be DJ, he could do the playlist. Be great fun.
Oh, my DJing days are well over. My last actual physical DJ job was for the Roxburgh High School third form social in 1987. 3 people turned up. It was one of the saddest days of my life. Never again.
You from the south?
Yeah, I'm Central Otago boy.
Oh, right.
Where are you from?
Oh, Queenstown mainly.
No way, really? Oh, I was born in Ranfurly.
All right. There you go.
Ah, yes.
Right. Okay. So here's Bruce joining us now. So, look, we'll kick off. We've just got an hour today, and there has been a little hiccup. So, what I propose is that we'll do the first 4 items on the agenda. And then I'll hand over to Audit New Zealand to give us a bit of an update, and Tracy, give us a bit of an update of where the audit's at, and then we'll take the 2 papers of today, which is the representation letter and the draft annual report, if everyone's happy with that. So firstly, Amy, can you remind me the apologies for today now?
So I've got apologies from Angela, Councillor O'Leary, and from Councillor McPherson.
Okay, so I'll move that those apologies are accepted. Can I have a seconder? Thanks, Councillor Bunting. All of those in favour? Against?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, I'm going without a run sheet today. Amy, do you need me to do the recommendation for the agenda?
Yes, if we could just confirm that the agenda as was circulated at this time.
Yeah, and sorry, I've just somehow I've just lost my papers, so I'll just get them up again. Okay, so I'll move that we confirm the agenda subject to those minor changes. Thank you. Seconder, Mayor Paula. All of those in favour? Against?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Are there any conflicts of interest? I've not been made aware of any particular conflicts of interest. No. Okay, and no members of the public wanting to speak. So that brings us to item 5, page 7 of the pack. And Tracy or Clarence, did you want to give us an update of where we're at with the audit?
Go, Clarence. You do your bit. You do the process, and I'll do what we're going to do next.
Cool. Thank you. Yes, good morning, everybody, or afternoon. So the status of the audit is we're 99% there. We're working through the valuations. That is the hold-up at the moment. It is just working with the valuers and with our second director, making sure that all the inputs and assumptions used in the valuations actually stack up, especially on the land and buildings valuation. There's quite a varied amount of or difference in dollar values used in square meterage, and we're just trying to get an understanding of why those rates are so various. And it's just a process from our side that we need to get enough audit evidence on site. The other one that we're waiting on is just a group return from the regional airport, because there was quite a big movement in the valuations. So we're just waiting on that valuation movements to be verified by the appointed auditor for the airport, and we expect to get that this afternoon. Nadia is also the audit manager for that audit, so he's quite aware of where that's at, and we don't expect any issues with that one. So the big thing is just the evaluations, working through that, getting the assumptions and getting the audit evidence for that. So that is the unfortunate holdup. For the
Okay.
SSPs and that, we did get technical feedback, so there's no impact on the audit opinion, which I think is a really good outcome for the SSPs. And then the 3 waters, we were waiting on technical clearance on that. See if that made some small adjustments on the financial statements with just the disclosures, but that's also cleared. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Okay, thank you. So for the committee's benefit, we were expecting to have verbal audit clearance for today's meeting, so we could do a clear recommendation through to council for approval of the annual report tomorrow by council, but we don't have that yet. Tracy and I have discussed it, but I'll hand over to you, Tracy, to outline a proposed way forward.
Sure, thank you. So what we're trying to do today, so what we're going to do is in the recommendation that we've got on the second item 6 of the report to this committee is change the recommendation so that the recommendation to council is based obviously on getting that verbal clearance from Audit New Zealand, and if there are any minor changes that come through, that they are obviously then approved by the chair of this committee. So rather than trying to reconvene this committee all over again, if the committee is comfortable with that recommendation, we'll put that through. So what we've got then, obviously recommendations go straight through to council, and with council being tomorrow, so obviously it's a tight time frame. So again, what we're proposing for that is for council tomorrow, again, obviously a lot of pressure on Audit New Zealand to get that through and get audit clearance from them by tomorrow afternoon, so that that paper can go through to council. The next plan, if that obviously doesn't work, is potentially doing an extraordinary council meeting on Tuesday, straight after the finance committee. So that's kind of plan, what am I up to? Plan H, it feels like, of organising all of this. So that's where we're kind of headed for that. So fundamentally, the report that the council has seen, and what we're proposing today, as Clarence has just mentioned, just a few tweaks around the 3 waters. Obviously, the non-service performance indicators, which is fantastic news for us. And the other one, so the CE and MEA forward that we got translated. So all of those, I think we're up to version 15 now of the design document. We do have quite a clear way forward as far as the difference between what you've seen and what we'll be going through from the final design. So happy if anyone wants to see those changes in the PDF format to send that through to anyone if they need it. So.
Okay, thanks for that, Tracy. Does anyone have any questions or concerns with that proposed process?
I think it's most pragmatic in the situation, Karen. I'm very happy to support it.
Okay,
Yeah, I agree.
thank you.
I agree.
Yep, doesn't mean, yeah.
Sorry.
Straightforward.
So if I can maybe, Madam Chair, if I can maybe just add, you mentioned that the audit opinion that we provided last week still includes the qualification for the SSPs, the comparators for 3 years ago. Our audit opinion will be clear audit opinions, and I don't think I've provided a copy of the new opinion. We only got it back yesterday, and we cleared it yesterday. So your opinion that you're going to adopt will be different, and I will email that to management. So just make sure that the council is aware of the correct audit opinion, which is basically the standard opinion. And the same with the letter of rep. We just got one this disclosure and adjustment about the commitments. The commitment register. It's not materially misstated, but it doesn't reconcile 100%. So there is some uncertainty about if the commitments is 100% listed there. We've satisfied that it's not materially misstated. So we'll just have one disclosure in the letter of representation. So we'll send the updated version for that also.
Okay, so your audio is not great, so I just want to check. So you're saying that the representation letter will be updated to provide one further representation around the commitments, And presumably it'll also be updated. There's a clause there that says that the non-standard audit report will be reported through to Parliament, so you update that as well.
Correct. That's been taken out. And what we've added is just the impact of COVID. The council have considered the impact of COVID lockdown, and there's no material impact.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is a self-disclosure, I think, in subsequent events, and we're satisfied with it. It's more
okay. Thank you. Right, so we will move to that paper, which is item 5 on page 7. And so we'll take the paper as read. The purpose of this paper is to present the management, the representation letter, which the Chief Executive and the Mayor sign on behalf of the Council, representing to Audit New Zealand various matters, including things like fraud, non-compliance, related party, all of those sort of contentious items. And in order for the Mayor and the Chief Executive to sign that off, they rely on management's representations. So Nordea has just told us that there are some minor adjustments to be made to that representation letter. So I suggest that we change the recommendation in 2 respects. So the recommendation is on page 7. Firstly, it's that the committee receives the report, then that the committee notes that the representation letter will be delivered after the completion of the audit of the annual report. I'd also like to add that the representation letter will be signed by the Chief Executive and the Mayor. Perhaps Amy, would you like to read out the wording I gave to you earlier today?
Absolutely. We'll just pop it up on the screen so everybody can see it.
Right. Yes. So hopefully I can, is that getting big? No. That the committee recommend to council, it's moving around the screen. The committee recommend that council approves the letter of representation to Audit New Zealand be signed by the Chief Executive and the Mayor on behalf of the council. But I suggest after just our recent discussions here that I also amend it to perhaps we could just include this and see that subject to the chair's review of any non-significant amendments to the letter.
I think that makes sense, Karen, because as Nordea said, there's some good changes which we will be keen to see, but it'd be good for you to clear those off.
Yeah. So
okay.
those will, the staff and yourself, Karen, will make those quite clear what those matters are for me to make those changes in the letter, because I'm a voice piece for the committee, and council, not necessarily a unilateral decision maker on it.
Yes, so Audit New Zealand will redraft the letter. I'll review it, and then if I'm happy with that, I'll present the recommendation through to council. And then once council have signed off on that, yourself and Richard will sign. Of course, Richard's signature is not subject to council approval. It's just yourself signing on behalf of council. Okay, is everybody happy
Karen,
with?
Karen,
Yep,
could I just
Chris?
ask one question, please, before we move to the motion? And look, I just would, it's really a verbal update, probably I need. This is a representation on behalf of the group. Do we have any back-to-back confidence that the entities, which I know aren't large relative to the group, have also been able to, or will also be able to sign off their representation letters?
Tracy?
That's a great question. I've never
Yeah.
been asked that before. So
Sorry, Tracy. Look, I
No,
probably should have asked it last year,
fine.
but it's
no,
an
that's all
obvious-
good. That is a great question. I guess what you do have to be aware of, and again, maybe if you want to make a note of it, the CCOs of which form part of our group account
Yeah.
haven't actually been finished being audited.
Which is fine.
So-
And I knew that would be the answer.
Yeah.
All I'm wanting to reflect here is that Paula and Richard are signing off on behalf of the group, not just Hamilton City, which I'm
That's
more
right.
than comfortable over, but we just need to recognise
Yes.
that. And look, I mean, I think that's a fair point that at least we acknowledge, and it might be useful through the resolution, that there is an absence around, but presumably we're signing. What's the word? We've got negative assurance. There's nothing that's come to our attention that would prevent signing the group representative.
No, so the only thing that, and because we knew that was part of this this particular audit, the timing of it, normally we would get all of those audits and they would have been
Yes.
done before ours. That's normally how we do it, but obviously, as you know, it kind of got flipped the other way. So,
I get that.
but
No, I
to be
get that.
fair, as part of that audit, New Zealand did have a cursory glance, if you like, and a quick review of their accounts and what was coming through, and look at anything that could be substantially material or have concerns. And one of them was the valuations that obviously happened at the Hamilton Airport. So they have done that. They have actually audited that specific piece themselves. And as you heard Clarence just mention, that's actually part of that independent or that valuation discussion that they'll be having this afternoon, to be clear on our one and their one, and make sure that we're comfortable with that. The rest of our CCO audits, obviously from a materiality perspective, aren't going to affect it. But a really great question, and normally, and obviously this year is a bit of an anomaly in the sense that normally we would have all of theirs done before we would do ours. So a great thing to ask.
Clarence, can I suggest that the letter, given the unusual circumstance this year, can I suggest that the letter be amended accordingly? Does that make sense to you?
So the letter of representation will be for the group, and from an audit perspective, as Trace explained, we didn't assess any of your CCOs to be significant as a material big enough to have an impact on your overall financial statement. So the risk of it being materially misstated is, well, it's non-existent. That otherwise we would have changed it. With the movement in the airport's valuations, which is accounted for as an associate in your accounts, we did see that was a very high movement, and to make sure that there's no risk to the group accounts, we did some additional work on that specific movement. So I don't necessarily want to change the letter of representation on the group, because it is, unfortunately, you have to sign on behalf of the group.
Yeah, Clarence, notwithstanding the materiality thresholds, obviously when it comes to some of the representations made in the letter, like fraud, that the materiality levels aren't so relevant. So I wonder whether we just need to note that the audits are not yet complete for others in the group.
And that's why, Kieran, supporting you, I would be keen that we just recognise that as long as we can say it faithfully, we have got no reason to withhold overall assurance, overall representations, because we've nothing. We're not aware of any matter. That's not a particularly the right way to say it, but you know what I mean. We've got hopefully, and I'll be looking to Tracy, to be honest, for this one, we've got negative assurance over these matters. There isn't any fraud that we haven't been aware of. They have complied with the law. We've got no reason to believe that they haven't. As well
concerns.
As also the knowledge as well as also the knowledge that Clarence is quite well making, that actually they're not material, so we don't have to worry about the financial impact.
Sorry, Kieran, Clarence. So my understanding is, so if we put something, a negative confirmation in your letter of rep for the group, that the council are not aware of any issues that should materially impact your financial statement. So it's basically negative confirmation in your letter of rep. That's probably all we need.
Can you do that, Nadia?
Clarence, can we do it? I'm sure we can.
So we'll run it past our methodology. Should be able
Okay.
to do it because it is quite different. But I'll come back to you, Kieran.
Okay,
Well,
thanks.
Let's face it, Clarence. We know mutually we're safe over the financial representations. Clearly, if there was fraud or a compliance issue, you haven't issued your opinions on the subsidiaries yet. And of course, we're going to be pretty hot if suddenly we find something as well. So I think, if I can be honest, I think from an auditor perspective, and I'd want to argue strongly that you've got the assurance that you need through this letter, even though we will amend it for the negative assurance.
Yep. I understand what you're saying, Bruce, and we'll definitely take it on board. And as I say, it's just making sure that the wording actually reflects that. So it's getting the wording.
Fair point. Yeah, fair point.
Okay, right. So thanks very much for raising that, Bruce. It was a good point. Are we all now happy with the resolution that came up on the screen previously? I'm happy to move it. Can I have a seconder?
Yes, I'll second that, Kieran.
Thanks, Bruce. All of those in favour? Against?
Aye.
Carried. Right, so let's move to the next item, which is the annual report itself, page 23. So as Tracy outlined earlier, there have been some minor changes since the last version that came to the committee. Sorry, Councillor Bunting, I see you've got your hand up. Is that relating to the previous?
No, it's this next one. So just when are you ready?
Okay, right. So yeah, there have been some minor changes. I've had a look through the marked up copy, and as say, they are all minor.
Have we still got quorum if Rob leaves?
Yep, I'm here. So
Good.
Mark saving the day.
I got chocolate for this. I'll just have you know. But
Oh, what?
sorry, Narelle.
Okay, so we've got those minor changes. Tracy, just one item. I sort of picked up a typo on one of the tables. Can you confirm that somebody has gone through after it's gone to the design team, gone through and checked all of the tallies?
Yes, and it's actually sitting with the design team yet again, and right now with some other changes that we just got through this morning. So all of those changes, thank you, Kieran, that you fed back on the weekend. Plus, there's been a couple of other things come through from audit just again in the last couple of days as well. So it is just back out with the designer again, but I will definitely make sure that we double check those tables and bits and pieces. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, great. So before I move to the amended recommendation, questions. I see that Councillor Bunting's got one.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Just a minor one on the letter on page 31. Just where we refer to Richard's resignation, I just wonder if it wouldn't be useful to actually mention the appointment of Lance Vervoort as CEO, which we've since made, simply because I see it as a very reassuring move to staff and the community that we've appointed someone so experienced and so from within the place. Just to give, because we've made reference to the fact that losing a CEO can be quite destabilizing, but we've moved pretty quickly to appoint a really worthy replacement. So would that be useful? Bless you, Paula.
Thank you.
But if it's too hard, not to worry, but I just wonder if it might be useful.
I'll hand that either to Tracy or Mayor Paula.
Mayor Paula, it's her
Look,
right.
I'm happy to do that. Probably we didn't because at that point we were still finalising the detail.
Yeah.
We don't want to water down our thanks to Richard, but on the one hand,
exactly.
note that we have an in place Chief Executive to replace Richard, which is really good. Give ability to the organisation.
Yeah.
So
even
my
just
only
one
caveat
sentence.
for that from a reporting perspective is it then has to be translated. So again, just a warning that that does take time and then we'll obviously have to go to the designer. So that health and safety piece that we did last time and added in, it took about a week to get that back from the translators to be able to put into the design document.
Yeah.
So again, acknowledge and what you're saying and very much up to Mia Paula if she wants to include it or not. But that's my only warning.
Yeah.
That's the case, and we're fine to the line, I'd say not. But maybe when we put it to council as complete, we put it into the report that.
That we could add that. But we could certainly do that to say that it will be added in later if that's what we'd like to do for sure.
I might just gently push back on that and suggest that it's quite significant for our next, for our next year's operation, if not the next 3 or 4 years. So. I just wonder if it isn't significant enough to, heaven knows.
Councillor Bunting, I'm hearing that it will actually go into the final. It just won't be updated before council approve, but council are to approve subject to that. Is that what I?
Yeah, I can certainly. I
see.
think we can do that, can't we, Julie? We'll just put it in the report itself that it's subject to adding these and making sure it's translated and things like that. So again, just that means the council won't be seeing the final report. So it's just being very clear on that. So so if that's what Mayor Paula wants to do, we're happy to work with her on that.
Car pipe, dinner pipe. Happy with that. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, any other questions? No. Right. Tracy, did you want to take us through the amended resolution, or Amy?
Yeah, Amy, have you got it there for me?
I was just working on one in the background, so it is coming up.
So basically what it'll say is something along the lines of recommends that the council adopts the annual report subject to obviously verbal clearance from Audit New Zealand, and again any minor changes reviewed and approved by the chair of this committee. Something like that.
Yeah, that's practically it, just the other way around.
Okay.
Cool.
There we go. Yes, that is as per Tracy's summary. So I'll move that recommendation. Can I have a seconder, please? Can't see everyone on. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Bruce. All of those in favour, say aye. Against, carried. Right. So I think that is now the end of the agenda. Sorry, it was a really mucky meeting. The team have been working really hard, both Tracy's team and Clarence's team, to work within some pretty difficult timeframes given the environment we're in. So I do appreciate everybody's flexibility in this matter, and hopefully we will have a near final set of accounts and annual report ready to be approved tomorrow by council. So
believe me, this has been a sweet meeting. Tomorrow's meeting, however.
Don't put it out there, Paula. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tracy or Clarence, Nordia, was there anything further you wanted to add?
Nothing from me, thank you.
Just hey, if I can just say thank you to everyone behind this work. It always the team always pulls together some very well, and it had some extra complexity in it this year. But life has got extra complexity in it this year. But we've navigate that as we do, and we've got a good result. And David and team, you must be really pleased. And I think we've done a really good year considering the big challenges that we faced and the number of changes as an organisation that we faced. Here we are, having had a productive and largely positive year.
Yes, here. Okay, so Clarence, I look forward to seeing the amended representation letter and hearing that you're happy to give verbal clearance tomorrow. Ready for me to present to council. Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good news with our credit rating. It's going the right way, isn't it?
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
That's
news.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Well done, guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
guys.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. Thank
See you.
you.
Thank you, guys. Go well, Clarence. What are you? Well done,
Thank you.
guys.
Thanks, Bruce.